Hey everyone, I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about the coronavirus. I know that there's a lot of thoughts and ideas out there about what's happening. There's a pretty big impact worldwide about what's going on. And as a result, we've had many franchisees who have elected not to go to Discovery Day and not to go to trainings. And there's other concerns too. We've seen more issues with people concerned about the stock market because their 401ks are in the stock market and that has now crashed. So I just want to share a story with you from 2009 when I was in the business before and after the market crashed, and what happened during that time. So in franchising, when the market crashed, things changed for sure. Business stopped for a short period of time, and people tried to figure out like what's going on. What does tomorrow look like within franchising? But I was really proud of our industry and what they created and developed as a result of that circumstance. You saw franchisors really getting creative about how they were bringing franchisees in. Sometimes they were partnering people with one another. Sometimes the franchisor was doing in-house financing. Sometimes they were doing delayed payments to get people in and to keep them in through the process. There were a lot of variety of things that people did. That's really the time period that the emergence of the 401k really took hold and started being a primary method that people were funding franchises. And so it was just interesting to go through and live that experience and see how well our industry adapted and how they were able to be resilient. So we did have a brief window of time where there weren't a lot of franchise sales, but it didn't really last that long. And in fact, a lot of people who were in businesses and now were unemployed, now they were ready to buy a franchise and more serious about looking into business ownership. And so it actually ended up being a really good time for franchising, where franchisors got to pick the quality, the best cream of the crop franchisees to bring into their system. So I just want to encourage you guys to think on your feet and really be creative about how you can handle and adapt to this situation. You know, remember that the coronavirus, it's a threat, of course, and that threat is mostly in its spreading. But if you think about it, most people really aren't sick. So now's the time that we can utilize that energy, utilize that off time, downtime in really great ways. So let's just get creative. Let's think about how we can still run discovery days. How can we still run trainings, maybe via the web? And I just want to encourage you to also be light and fun about it, because there's a lot of really bad energy out there right now. So if we can counterbalance that with the way that we're approaching things and the demeanor that we're taking about this situation, we're going to be somebody that the client wants to talk to. Also, just to give you an example, we are running our next training remote. And so we changed around the whole conference room. We changed around how we were going to do it. We adjusted the times, and we're now having an entire training remote in order to accommodate those trainees and still have them go through the training, but allow them the flexibility of staying home. And they were really appreciative about that. They don't want to do the traveling right now anyway. So if you think about it, their goals haven't changed. They still want to move forward. This is really just a temporary circumstance. And so we as a community, a franchise community, need to act quickly to adapt and to get ahead of this situation. So just think about how can you mobilize your remote processes, and then also how can you be the light? How can you bring a lightness and a positivity to those interactions and show those clients that you are a good franchise?